I am resident of Colorado for YouTube, Jules Sades. That's my buddy Patrick McCray. We're here to review Phantom of the Paradise. Really, really good film. They throw a lot of cool elements in this movie.
And I think that wraps it up.
Yeah, no, but I really love the music. Not just the music, but the acting in this movie is really, really good. Great set design. You have great location, and just the songs really fit this movie. Meeting the devil. I mean, you have a guy who basically is selling his soul to stay young. Dorian Grayish in every way.
Yeah, that's a layer we're not expecting. Because we think Swan is the devil, and then we find out no, Swan's just another chain, a link, in the chain.
Yeah, that was when you first saw that for the first time. How shocked were you by that?
We come to that verb again. Shocked.
Shocked. Yes.
I just imagine, like, whoa, whoa. I was shocked. I thought it was a cool twist. And I liked it, yeah.
Because you're getting the sense that there's something up with this guy, and you're not sure what. And I did get the sense he was sort of evil, but the fact that he is under contract, and you don't feel one out. The writers and the actor do a really good job of making sure you don't feel 1 ounce of sorrow for this guy. And thank God
for Swan.
Yeah, for Swan. Sorry, I want to be sure about who it's referencing. Swan. You don't feel 1 ounce of sorrow for Swan at all, which is rightfully so. He's your antagonist of this. The Phantom, in every way, is your protagonist.
No, yeah, he's the hero of the story. And again, this is a case. This is what we were talking about the other day, where someone took the basic building blocks.
Yep.
And kind of resonant themes and ideas in Phantom of the Opera and said, well, why don't we have them make sense and be dramatically compelling and have a character that we want to follow, who's scary and imperfect also. Good Lord, Leach he's out there.
I thought Brian De Palma really took a lot of risks with this movie, and rightfully so. Fun risk, not something that it doesn't insult the original at all. It's a great compliment really to a lot of the Phantoms that came before it in a lot of ways. With the score, with the singing, the timing of the rhythm of the music is great.
The variety of things they get away with the music. So the music does a lot of different things in this film.
Yeah. And I love too how I didn't know if they were going to have a scene because a lot of the scenes really did sort of shock me. Yeah, the reveal of Swan's sold his soul Dorian Gray style that was shocking. The fact that he has the contract is a funny thing. That cracked me up a bit. I don't know if
vision clause. That's all.
Yeah, the vision of it, right? The length of it. It's hilarious. I don't know if they were going for humor in that moment, but I did find that funny. It's just like the ridiculousness of it. But you get why, because the plot is okay. It's the contract with the devil. Of course, it's going to be. With the line of I want your voice. Sell me your voice. Are they taking that from Little Mermaid at all? Hans Christian Andersen's Little Mermaid?
Sure. Maybe. Devil's always trying to buy something good. And if the voice is good, then that's what the devil's going to want to buy.
Yeah.
If it were a Ninja Creamy twist, which is the new Ninja ice cream machine, maybe you would want that. It's hot in hell. You need a cool dairy treat.
Yeah. I have ice cream in my freezer. So yes, yeah, you're right. That's the thing about the character, the devil. He always wants more. That's one thing this movie is really focusing on too. Swan always wants more.
Yeah.
And that's a theme I love about this movie. What did you think, Patrick?
Sure. I mean, the devil is a very acquisitive figure, and so is Swan, and
Yeah.
so the devil attaches itself, himself, herself, to essentially to buyers. If the devil wants more, he's gonna find people who want more, and let them do the taking, and then take from them.
Mm. Paul Williams really could act.
It's good.
I mean,
Yeah.
he sold his ass off in this movie.
He did, and I think we forget how pervasive Paul Williams was at the time. He'd written a ton of songs. He wrote songs for the Carpenters. We've only just begun. If my clock is right, I think. And then like a lot of songwriters from that era, Jerry Reed, for instance,
Yeah.
began to emerge as Neil Diamond
Mm.
began to emerge as his own voice. Singing these things. Even Anthony Newley, who wrote the songs Goldfinger, but became his own performer. So did Paul Williams. And yeah, he has an innate sense of showbiz and truth and the dramatic and the horrific, and he has a lot of fun modulating between them. But Williams had been doing a lot. He'd been doing a lot around this time. And so did De Palma. This was after Carrie, I think. What year was this?
This was 1974. This came
It was
out.
right around. Okay, it was right around Carrie. Um, Maybe 2 years before, and I think Carrie was 76, 75, 76.
1976. Yep.
1976. Yeah, really put him on the map. But Devon was certainly coming along, and then Williams the same. But Williams had been acting for a long time. He wasn't just a songwriter. He was a child actor. As a younger man, he was in The Loved One. He plays the kid rocket scientist who comes up with the idea of shooting the loved ones into space.
Mm.
That's him. Who was working at the mortuary. Oh, retardation shoot failed. He's the little Gunther, and he looks just like Paul Williams. And they do a good job of recreating that hair for the
Yeah.
bathtub scene in this.
Yes, they do. But it works. You're right. It works with this movie. The mirror the reflection in the mirror, and you want to be young for the rest of your life. You're this will age here. This picture will age, but you won't. And you can watch it age. I'll tell you a moment that I wasn't surprised by, but I understood it, because
Were you
he
shocked by it?
was the Phantom was in love with Phoenix.
Sure.
Which it was nice to see in this movie have like that romantic side of
Well,
it.
I think the Phantom's always in love with the Christine
Mhm.
figure. I think.
Yeah, but I like what they do here. They don't use the word Chris. They use the term Phoenix
Sure.
instead of just going Christine, which is nice. But I love. I tell you, a character I think is really underrated is Beef. I love that character.
Oh my God, Garrett Graham.
Yeah,
He's so good. And he had, the 70s were good to Garrett Graham. He had this, he had Mary Hartman, a wonderfully familiar stage presence who aged very well. I mean, I'm looking at him, was 20 years later in Star Trek Voyager, and he's looking great. But he's such a weird looking guy, anyways. Big eyes, and so on and so forth. So, an interesting looking person ages pretty well. I
yeah,
think in a lot of cases, and he's certainly a case of that. And Graham originally, they had all sorts of different casting scenarios. At one point, Graham was either supposed to play Swan or Winslow,
yeah,
and then Paul Williams said, "Man, I'm writing all these songs for you. You got to let me play something. What do you
yeah.
want to play?" Well, then he wanted to play the Phantom,
Mm-hmm.
and then that fell through, and so then he said, "Well, I want to play Leech, or play Swan." He finally settled on playing Swan, and Beef. But Garrett Graham was supposed to play one of those two parts initially, and Garrett Graham got moved over to play Beef. But Beef was originally going to be played by Peter Boyle,
Oh wow.
who played the creature in Young Frankenstein,
Yeah.
and Joe
Yeah.
with Dennis Patrick.
Yeah. I'm not shocked that he was up for that many roles in this movie because he's really, man, when even when he's not singing, you can tell the dude's really talented.
Who? Garrett Graham?
Yeah, Garrett
Beef. Yeah.
Graham. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
Beef is just hilarious. I mean, the moment he's on, he's Graham is always making fun of something,
yes.
and I think he gets away with even today with what could be considered a kind of uh, homophobic, the gay equivalent of blackface kind of character or characterization, because he has so thoroughly savaged the sort of phallocentric, rock bully prior to that, that's bought him license to make fun of anything else he wants.
I think not only Beef, but a lot of the characters, and even in this movie, in a sense, though it's made in the 70s and I think set there, this feels every bit like an 80s movie. This is ahead of its time a bit, even for 74.
Sure. Very
I mean,
much so. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, every bit of this, like, even the music feels a bit 80s, a bit.
It does. It does. Well, and Williams' music always had a real freshness to it. And
Yeah,
I think some of that is that it also has an antique sound.
yeah,
He's very good with working in a lot of ragtime type, syncopations and so on. The tinkling piano, bum 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 bum, bum, which has a very American sound, and a timeless, what would become a timeless sound. Of course, we were in the midst of nostalgia mania at that time. Sha Na was originally supposed to be the three different bands, the Juicy Fruits and the other two. Uh, and Grease had opened a few years before on Broadway, and it's the thing about nostalgia of that era that I we lose sight of now is that the actors who were really serving up that nostalgia were serving up their own nostalgia. That was the high school of their youth,
yeah.
and so we weren't that far away from like you see the Swan single-handedly created the nostalgia craze. Well, sort of, but it wasn't that old.
Right.
You have the late 60s making fun of the late 50s. That's So you have actors in their late 20s
Yeah,
portraying people in their late teens.
yeah. I
Whatever
really,
all of that means, I have no
I
idea.
like how
Family
they don't
business.
like. I like how they shoot this to at the beginning from Swan's perspective. He's looking down. You see the gloved hand, very even though very creepy, but yet gives you that curiosity of the character itself. That's a
De,
great introduction.
De Palma was a very flashy director at a
Hmm.
time when you could be flashy, at a time when they, for instance, split screen,
Yeah,
where you see something from one character's point of view and something from another character's point of view at the same time. I think it was a movie called Sisters. He had done that as a thriller. So that was a real De Palma trademark. Um, and there's an image in the Straight Outta Beyond the Valley of the Dolls, intentionally. All the girls on the bed, on the spinning bed, when Phoenix is first being brought in for her audition.
yeah,
That's an image straight out of BVD, and the movie owes, I think, a lot to Beyond the Valley of the Dolls.
yeah. It definitely I would say it owes its some of its look too. The way the
Oh, sure, sure. The use of color,
yeah,
the propulsive energy, and it is the both the triumph and the flaw of the movie is the lighting and the very sanitary Hollywood portrayal of rock concerts and this and
yeah,
that. It's all extremely well lit. It's all very clean. Everyone's maintaining proper boundaries and so on and so forth, which is endearing. And again, everyone who saw the movie knew that was a phony baloney. But I think they were all in on the joke that it kind of has to be this way to be a film, and it gives it that one more step of unreality that it needs. But in terms of production design, the look of the film again and again, relentlessly fresh and interesting. You know, the inside of Swan's office. And that's one of the '80s things you're talking about. 'Cause it looks like, you know, something out of the beginning of Escape from New York. And notice that all of the doors and things are cut to be Paul Williams' height.
Yeah.
Everyone's ducking. But now the paradise itself, you know, the great big Gothic house, I guess maybe it's Swan's house or something, where
Yeah.
they're doing the auditions and so on. You know where that was, right?
No.
It's Greystone.
Uh,
It's the Greystone Manor, which would be Collinwood twice. It'd be Collinwood in 1991, and
yeah.
it'd be Collinwood in 2004.
Nice.
And it's also Whispering Glades mortuary in The Loved One.
It's a frequently used mansion, which rightfully so. Um,
Yeah.
do you think anybody will ever use Seaview, like the inside of Seaview, for a shot?
I mean, I would love to see that. Seaview would look. The inside of Seaview really is like a cross between the Cy Tomashoff Collinwood
Yeah.
and Lyndhurst,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of stone. You know, there's not. It sometimes doesn't feel like there's as much stone as there is wood in Collinwood. Um, but the inside of Seaview, if they could shoot in there, would make a wonderful Collinwood, and it would finally begin to make physical sense
Yeah.
more than it does. But having said that, Tomashoff did a really good job at translating uh, visual quotes
Yeah.
from the inside of Seaview Terrace.
He,
Uh,
he
to
saw the inside of it, probably, you think?
Pardon? Oh yeah,
I'm just probably.
definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. I, I would have to say he would have. I mean,
Oh,
he.
yeah, I mean, why would you go all that way and get the permission of the Carey family to use the house and so on and not take a look inside? You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
and there's a portrait that I did of Seaview Terrace, and if anyone wants it, I'll send it to you. It's really a beautiful picture. Got this cat here, and it's not Lincoln for once. It was just batting that just can't get anything done. Now she's in the act, and she was the well-behaved one. Well, not anymore.
Lincoln inspires us all.
Lincoln's somewhere just having a cigarette, you know, watching his handiwork. Um, I've trained you well, kid. Okay, there she's going away. Now that she's been associated with that clod, she's not gonna have anything to do with it. There are. I'll tell you one of the main quotes, and this is one of the best pictures I took inside the house, is the the stained glass, those thin stained glass windows that are above, well, thin, you know, that are above the staircase,
Yeah.
you know, as you go onto that landing. That is something that, depending on the entrance that you take, one of the first things you would see. The grand staircase at Seaview is actually recessed into the home fairly far, but
Yeah.
there's this side staircase
Yeah.
that's frankly much more interesting. It kind of curves upward, and across the side of it are those windows.
Cool.
It's really magnificent. It's one of the most magical experiences I ever had. Um, it is the closest any of us would come to the equivalent of going aboard the USS Enterprise.
Cool.
It's really fantastic, and where it differs from Collinwood just sort of feels like, okay, this is a room that we just didn't see at Collinwood,
Yeah.
or this is an area that we didn't see there. It's funny because the rooms that are more Collinwood esque, there's a lot of renovation being done. You know, I think it's constantly being done there. Um, those rooms were the ones that were the least used, sort of over to the side and things like that, that have, you know, more of the wood in them and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
You know, most of the activity when I was there took place in kind of this massive sunroom area, which is where all that glass is when you see it from that one angle. You know, there's a low squat, all those windows going across.
Yeah.
Is that with that has the outdoor kind of balcony like
Yeah.
patio.
Yeah. Cool. Cool. This
Phantom
movie,
of the Paradise.
yeah. I, let's see. Musical numbers for those interested. Goodbye, Eddie. Goodbye, the Juicy Fruits.
Uh,
Faust, Winslow. Never thought I'd get to meet the devil, Winslow. Faust, first reprise, Winslow Phoenix. Upholstery, The Beach Bums. Special to me, Phoenix. Faust, second reprisal, The Phantom, which, yes, that the Phantom's theme, Beauty and the Beast, The Phantom. Somebody, Super Like You.
thank
Beef,
you, Joel.
Beef Construction Song, The Undead. Life at Last, Beef. Old Souls, Phoenix. The Hell of It plays
And
over
hell, it was a lot of fun.
end credits. Yeah. What Paul Williams had to have a blast making this thing. I mean, really, really good.
Oh yeah.
This movie, its release date was actually October 31st, 1974.
Now I'm going to ask you to look something up.
Sure.
Look up, when did the Rocky Horror Show debut in London? Because the movie, certainly, this movie looks like it's taking a lot of notes from the stage version of Rocky Horror, which was done, in the attic of a theater. It's
On
tiny.
stage, like
Yeah,
on
the stage version of Rocky Horror. The English stage version of Rocky Horror.
June 19th, 1973.
So by a year,
Yeah.
that it could have been an influence. I don't
It
know. It seems like they probably would have had this in pre-production. So
it
they were. Pardon me, I was trying to decap this. Certainly, Jim Sharman and Richard O'Brien and Paul Williams were all drinking out of the same well.
yeah.
Of nostalgia and of very specific visual images. Because there's a lot of sort of the equipment and so on that gets rolled on and rolled off. There's a very Rocky Horror Show feel.
Yeah, it made its debut at the Royal Court Theatre in London. So at that time,
The upstairs is the Royal Court, which was
yeah,
a little space. So it was tiny. People today wouldn't believe it.
yeah.
Yeah.
This movie here grossed 1.3 million. That's some change, man. That's some change. The route for making the film was a recollection that De Palma had hearing a Beatles song in an elevator played as music to go along with experiences trying to pitch material to indifferent executives, and an idea from his friends Mark Stone and John Weezer,
Sure. Still the whole
about
thing going.
about a Phantom of the Fillmore. The script was written in tandem with Sisters, 1972.
Okay.
Although that film was done first because of its perceived commercial viability. Difficulty came with trying to get financing before a real estate developer named Gustav Byrne
Feel the burn.
yes, provided a majority of the funding during the trips around studios trying to get funding. De Palma was introduced to Paul Williams, who had a handful of small roles on film, but was mostly known for songwriting. While De Palma felt Williams was suited to play the character of Winslow, Williams felt he wasn't scary enough for the role and suggested playing Swan, once named Spectre in the script, as a play on the famed producer Phil Spector.
Oh, Spectre, yeah. So that Z-Man Barzell is also based on Phil Spector.
Really? Cool. Let's see. The electronic room in which Winslow composes his cantata and where Swan restores his voice is in fact a real life recording studio. The the record plant. The walls covered with knobs are in reality an oversized, custom built electronic synthesizer dubbed Tonto.
Hmm.
Uh, the City Center Concert Hall in New York City provided the exterior of the Paradise. Interior concert scenes were filmed at the Majestic Theater in Dallas, Texas.
Majestic it was.
The extras in the audience had responded to an open uh, cattle call. Locals interested in being in the film.
And
Uh,
it was written, in fact, as a barnyard scene, and they could not get enough cattle to answer.
so
And so they ended up using the owners. So there's a lot of cowhands who got dressed up as rock fans because the cows who were supposed to be in the audience just weren't interested.
here's
They later though showed up in a Leonard Bernstein car chase, one of those Leonard Bernstein's South based car chase movies.
here's
I'm
one.
making all of that up. There's
Here,
nothing true in that at all.
here's one for you. Sissy Spacek was the film's set dresser. Assi-
Really?
yep, assisting Jack Fisk, the film's production designer, whom she would later marry. She later starred in Brian De Palma's Carrie in
Yeah.
1976. So there you go. There's your connection.
It all fits together. First you drop an olive, then I sit on my hat.
Well, that makes sense when you consider all the how many people were in this actual movie. I mean, there was a lot
Big
of
cast, big
costume.
cast, lot going on.
There's a lot of costume designs in this movie, and not just for the fan like the
Boy, but
show.
that phantom, boy, that helmet,
Oh my god!
it's just
Right?
tremendous.
Yes. That
Yeah, here's one
I
of
was I
these.
was wondering when I was watching this, like how are because when you think about the Phantom's mask, how are they going to address that? And I love how they address it here.
Oh, it's marvelous.
It looks and it makes sense because here's a guy who was in prison, who had his teeth pulled, he had his face messed
He's
up.
gonna get a hat like that.
Yeah, and just the way they handle this is very smart and very creative, and I love the voice they have him doing too.
It's great. It's great. He wouldn't even take that hat off for Baby Yoda, just like the Mandalorian.
Yes. Um, entertain.
Speaking of,
When did you first see this, Patrick?
I saw this in the '80s, late 1980s, at the Vogue at midnight, as it very well should be, with
Yeah,
people who were already fans of the movie, and they were great. They weren't gatekeepers at all. They were wonderful ambassadors. And one of them, Dave Conover, run Wonderfest until recently, and makes a hell of a Phantom helmet. That's
nice,
one of his craft pieces. Yeah.
nice. I have a suggestion how they should introduce the Phantom in Dark Shadows. Uh,
Now, do you mean Phantom of the Opera or the Winslow Phantom?
no, Phantom of the Opera.
Okay, how?
They should go back and okay. You know how the Collins always you always hear about them going to Boston, right?
Sure.
They take trips to Boston.
Uh huh.
Well, something happened back in time in Boston where a theater accident destroyed one of the Collins family members financially. And
Oh, all
Barnabas
right.
wants to go back in time to stop it, learning it was some sort of phantom.
Oh, all right. So, yeah, the Phantom teabagging and all of that.
Yeah,
The Boston Tea Party. Sort of.
so,
Yes.
so, it's a weak thing.
Um, Isaac Asimov. You were talking about the word cantata, which is a is a role in an opera.
Yes.
Um, that piece of music, da-na-na,
Mhm.
da-na-na, da-na-na, dun, 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 that's Bach's Toccata
Nice.
Fugue in D
Yeah.
minor. And
Yeah.
Isaac Asimov was once challenged to come up with a limerick that would include that phrase. And it went something like this: There was a woman from South Carolina who placed fiddle strings across her, and with the right size, what was sex became Bach's Toccata and Fugue in D minor.
Nice.
Yeah,
Very, very
I think
nice.
you can imagine what
Yeah, yeah.
what needed to be filled in there.
Yes, yes. I can
And now
imagine.
Lincoln's nudging the camera again. He's satanic. He's satanic. There he is. You can see him flickering in and out of existence. A little fiend.
Oh my god, Paul. Yeah, I really enjoyed Paul Williams' performance as Swan. He really makes you hate his character to the core, which is
Yeah,
something
but you
that,
want to like him also. That's the beauty of it. He
yeah,
has a strangely likable quality. And this is before he played one of the apes in
yeah,
Battle for the Planet of the Apes,
yeah.
in which he needed no makeup to play that orangutan. That's how he was on the set. If you ever want to see something wild, I'm not kidding. You can look this up now. Look up Paul Williams' Apes Tonight Show.
Oh,
Just look it up. Look it up at home too.
eight tonight show.
Tonight, and watch what he does. I forget the song that he sings. It's like "Here Comes That Rainy Day" or something like that. He's got the cigarette and he's in the apes makeup, or is he? Maybe the apes were in Paul Williams makeup all along. He does the whole song. He doesn't break character at all. It's fantastic. Look at Jewel. It's like watching a new star being born in a stellar nursery. There he is. Bum, 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 bum.
Yes,
You
yes,
like that? It's
yes.
magnificent. It's great. What a
Oh
wonderful
my,
time the '70s were. You know that you could have weird looking people like Paul Williams, and they were sex symbols.
yeah.
And it just what a wonderful time. And it will never come again. I'm glad
in
I
an
could.
ape, in an ape
Have a,
costume. I mean, I
yeah,
don't.
I was glad I could be there for I guess most of it.
Oh my gosh. Uh, what I give this movie a 10, Patrick.
Oh God, yes, it's
It's
easy,
really good.
easy 10, easy 10.
And I love how they handle the blood in this movie. It's not overdone.
It's not, but the gore as kind of theatrical or fake or
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it is internally consistent, and it does the job of gore, which is to ook me out. It's
Yeah.
uncomfortable to look at, Winslow's eye and all that other stuff. Ew. And that's Gore's job.
I think the best thing too is when you see Swan's face aged and you realize
Yes,
here's the price for making a deal with the devil. Here's your
that's right.
price right here. And that was one of the best like climaxes I've ever seen in a Phantom movie. Really, really
Yeah,
well done. Because you're having the message, hey, you want to know the price for dealing with the devil? Here it is. And great film, fun watch. Excellent.
it truly is. Joel, I'm glad you got to see it.
Yeah, I watched this thing twice today. So
Did you? It's easily deserving of it.
yeah, it's a
What do
fun
you want to do?
film.
What do you want to look at next?
I'm not sure. Let's see. Trying to think of a movie that we haven't done. Maybe there's a couple actually. Want to do a Bond movie?
I was about to ask for Spy Who Loved Me.
Let's do it.
Okay, because that's '70s. It's that same kind of you have Marvin Hamlish doing the music. That same world that Paul Williams inhabits.
Yeah,
Uh, you know,
yeah. The
yeah.
spot.
Why not? Why not?
Is tomorrow night at 10:30 good?
I think tomorrow night at 10:30 is magnificent.
Link to Patrick Ray's Dark Shadows Day book Unbound is going to be in the description box. Go pick it up if you haven't already. It is one hell of a read. And yes, even though our buddy Alan Glenn is sick, link to Colin Sport After Dark is going to be in the description
And
box.
only morally. He's only morally sick.
Yes, he's more of
I hope he
it.
never gets better. In that sense. The name's the same. I was an upstanding citizen before I met you and Alan, and then this is what you turned me into.
I know. Julie blames me for it too.
I'm sure.
You have a good night, Patrick. Be
Take
safe.
care, Joel. Have a
Bye.
wonderful night. Bye.